By the way, I'm having myself a little tea party over here.
Noticed.
Tea party for one.
Do not bring that shit in this podcast, Nicole. That tea shit.
Why? You don't want me to talk about tea?
That was the Georgia Made podcast thing where we talked about tea and...
You don't want to know about the tea that I'm drinking?
No, please go ahead. I'm just making a joke about how for our last podcast, it was like...
Well, we started every episode talking about food. Like, for no reason. Like, every episode was us just talking about what... I think we were just, like, always hungry.
Yeah.
When we did that show. And so it was, like, always about food.
Well, because the Feminine Mistake podcast originally, like, in the first iteration, we had tons of snacks. And then for the Georgia Made podcast, we decided to get rid of the snacks.
Well, because we were recording in a podcast studio and it seemed inappropriate to bring food to the studio.
Yes.
Seemed dickish to do. And I suppose I could eat at my desk right now as we record this, but I just feel like it would be weird, right?
And you're being filmed too, so...
And I'm being filmed, so yeah, that's true. You don't want to watch me eat cheese. I don't eat cheese anymore either. So you don't want to watch me eat hummus and crackers.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, nobody wants to see that on camera, right? Unless you
I know
do.
someone who would.
In which case, if that's your kink... just shoot me an email at femininemistakepodcast@gmail.com and I'll eat crackers for you all the live long day.
Just for you.
Just for you, listener. Welcome to the Feminine Mistake Podcast. We watch movies and TV shows. We dig into the deep recesses of your childhood and pull out of that place, those dark reaches, movies. Sarah does not like where I was going with that. We pull out the movies out of your childhoods and we talk about the women in the movies and how they've been written. Oh boy. This is a fun place to start. Am I right? Anyway, that's what this show is about. We talk about how women are portrayed in films and make jokes about it.
I just realized that on our last episode, we didn't tell people who we are. We've been
you're right. It's like we just assume that we know. You're right. All right. Well, thank you, Sarah, for pointing out my. I just assumed if you're here, you know who we are. We've been recording the show for 4 years. I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
I'm Sarah, a different host.
Two hosts for the price of one. Also, we have a special guest with us today who we're super excited to have us rejoining for part two of this discussion. Justine Gendron, podcaster, filmmaker, amazing woman.
Amazing.
Quite an intro.
Thank you for joining us for this lively discussion about The Princess Bride, which is what we will be talking about today.
So happy to be here.
Yes, we're so happy to have you.
Super fucking happy to have you. Before we get into The Princess Bride, let's just shoot the shit for a moment. Sarah and I... Okay, so let me back this up. Ava Davis, who was our guest on the All About Eve episode, is an amazing person, and she has been the glue that has been holding our friend group together. The glue. Every week she puts together a happy hour that we all do over Zoom on Fridays, and then we watch a movie. She streams us a movie for all of us to watch. I think our friend Voss put it well, where he said that it's like she's like a babysitter that puts on a movie for a bunch of unruly kids,
and the kids are like,
they're like, where are the subtitles? I can't hear.
I can't hear it. Well, can you move the cursor? Can you make it full screen?
Yeah, she's really patient with us. But every week we've been watching movies. I've watched so many movies this summer. Oh, there's two things I feel like. Did you watch Guns Akimbo with us, Sarah?
I watched. Okay, so here's the thing, Nicole.
Okay, please tell me, because I feel like you're there and then suddenly you're not there.
Yeah, I've been falling asleep at like 8:30. Like I literally I turn it on and then I just fall asleep and I wake up in the middle of the night and the screen is blank and
you don't remember what happened.
No,
it's like what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
no,
well, Guns Akimbo, you did not miss.
Early. I'm okay.
I didn't fucking like that movie. I just want to put that out there. Didn't fucking like that movie one bit.
I watched a lot of that. I watched most of that, but I think I fell asleep before the end.
I did not like that movie.
Yeah.
It made my hackles go up.
Yeah. Did you see it, Justine?
I have not seen it, but I know of it, yeah.
It made me feel icky.
Yeah.
Mm.
And also, I was just like, I'm so tired of this trope of like nerdy guy who honestly the most impressive thing about that movie was Daniel Radcliffe's American accent, which was pretty fucking
very
good.
good. Very good.
I'm so tired of this like nerdy guy who like suddenly has to be an action hero, kicking ass, and then forming a relationship with a wayfish, like the stand-in of like a strong female character. We're gonna make her strong by making her basically a man, but we're gonna make her a woman and make her really like hyper masculine because that's what we think of as a strong female character. But then also make her super wayfish so she looks super tiny, like she could blow away in the wind.
Yeah.
It's like all of that. I've had it. Also, the movie, like the dialogue was
It was really bad.
I could not shit on this movie enough. I did not like it. It was so fucking bad. I did not like it. I'm mad.
Oh yeah.
I'm angry with this movie.
Yeah. It was not good.
It
was gross too.
It was gross, but not in a way that I enjoyed. Because sometimes I like something that's gross, and this movie, like the scene where he eats the hot dog. Did you get that far?
I think
where
so.
The bum gives him a hot dog that's been
Yes.
like sitting in his trash pile, and he eats it with the guns fucking stapled to his hands. And I was like, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch Daniel Radcliffe deep throat a hot dog while he's got guns stapled to his hands. I didn't want this. I didn't ask for this.
Somebody did.
Somebody did. And they gave the money to make this movie, and it makes me so mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Those are my thoughts on Guns Akimbo. We also, this week, watched Turbo Kid. Or I did. Sarah, did you watch it?
I watched a bit of it. I watched until I think there was a part where the lead.
Are you talking about the robot?
Girl?
You know she's a robot, right?
I didn't know. I left
Shit, I'm
she
so
was a robot.
sorry. Spoilers for 2015's Turbo Kid. This movie came out in 2015.
I'm not going to watch it. I turned it off. I didn't fall asleep with it on.
You chose to turn it off.
I chose to turn it off.
You're like, I'm done. So what was it for you that made you turn it off?
Her way she behaved, like
you mean the manic pixie apocalypse dream girl? Yes.
It was like right after you made that comment. I was like, yep. And I was like, I'm falling asleep. I should close this and like not even say goodbye. Like I'm just like, I'm done.
I mean, it was like Mad Max meets Roller Babies meets The Goonies, with a manic pixie dream apocalypse girl in it. That's my pitch for you, Justine. If you're ever interested in watching this movie, which it does not look like you are. She's like, ew. It's better than Guns Akimbo. Actually, I enjoyed it. I was frustrated with that aspect of it. But then once I found out she was a robot, I was like, oh, I felt like that movie honestly was playing around with those archetypes.
But did they program a manic pixie dream girl? Like what?
I guess so. Honestly, I'm going to be real with you, Sarah. I was chasing my kids around and yelling at them a lot while also trying to watch the movie, so I missed large chunks of it.
Oh, okay.
And Francis had to explain a lot of the movie to me. Like, I missed a whole chunk of it where I was putting the kids to bed. But here's what I'll say. It was, if you like 80s nostalgia, like if you like 80s sci-fi apocalypse kind of movies, it had some fun takes on that. And it was shot in a way that was, I mean, it has way better cinematography than any of those low budget 80s kids movies did. I like the actor who plays the young guy, the young man in the movie. I'm not really sure how old he was supposed to be because he acted like a kid, but he looked like a grown man. So I was very confused by his age.
Yeah, he looked like he was like 20, but like
I guess he was supposed to be in his early 20s, maybe.
No, I think he was supposed to be like 15. I think he was supposed to be like 15. Kid, Turbo Kid. A kid is not in your.
Well, no, I know, but the robot called
20s.
him that. He didn't call himself that.
Well, he looked like a kid.
I thought he was He looked like an adult,
They
like a young adult.
dressed him like a kid in
They
high
did.
school.
But I thought it was because he couldn't get beyond his parents' like death, and so he never really grew up. That's what I thought it was.
I didn't see
don't
enough
know.
of it to know, so I can't say.
Anyway, I liked him. I thought he was great. I liked him a lot. I liked the girl too. It's just like you said. I was like, oh, another manic pixie dream girl. I fucking can't with this shit. I'm so fucking sick of that shit. Don't give it to me anymore. Do not give it to me.
Yeah.
Unless you're gonna turn it on its head. I don't want it.
Do you think that it's so like cliche that people write them without knowing that they're writing them?
Yes, absolutely. They think they're writing an interesting woman, but they make her very childlike, and I'm like, ew.
Yeah.
I gave it a little bit of a pass because she turned out to be a robot, and I was like, oh well, she's literally not a human, so I guess that's, I don't know.
Manic Pixie Dream Bot.
Manic Pixie Dream Bot, exactly. But what I liked about it was that it, like, the score was all very, it felt like an 80s movie, but it wasn't. It's sort of like, have you guys seen House of the Devil? Justine, have you seen House of the Devil?
No.
Greta Gerwig is in that, by the way. House of the Devil was made in like the early 2000s, but it looks like an 80s slasher movie. Like, it's shot and they even shot it on film stock, the same film stock that they would have used in like 1988 or whatever. And it's kind of like a satanic panic kind of movie. It reminded me of that in the sense that it was meant to evoke a particular time period. And I think it did that very successfully. And also the violence in it was an absurd level of, like, it was absurdly disgusting, but like not in the same way of Guns Akimbo where I was just like revolted by it. It looked a bit like in Monty Python and the Holy Grail when the knight gets his arms and legs chopped off. That's the kind of violence it was, where it's just like blood squirting, or like the Addams Family when Wednesday Addams is doing that scene where she cuts off Pugsley's arm and then the arm is just squirting blood. That's the kind of movie violence it was.
I'm mad that you watched an 80s like movie and missed the 80s movies that we've watched recently that we were like, where's Nicole? Like,
I watched No Time to Die with you guys, or Never Too Young to Die. I watched that.
There was another one, I think. It was like a
yeah.
horror film, and we were like, where's Nicole?
Oh, I don't know. But anyway, Turbo Kid. I don't know if that was a recommendation that I just gave, but I feel like if you like that sort of 80s nostalgia for like something like Roller Babies or even the 80s Mad Max, it had a very 80s Mad Max kind of thing going on. If you like that, I think you would enjoy it. And I thought the performances were good. Again, wasn't incredibly satisfied with the female characters in the movie, but that's pretty on the regular for me. It's pretty hard for me to find a movie where I'm satisfied in that way. I enjoyed it and I thought it was entertaining and it was kind of a cool sci-fi flick. And so I definitely, if that sounds like your bag, I can recommend Turbo Kid. Guns Akimbo, throw it in the trash. Just fucking flush it down the toilet. But Turbo Kid, I did like. And Sarah, I'm sorry that you didn't watch all of it, but I don't think you would have cared for the violence at all.
Yeah, I don't
At one point, a guy, like, his intestines get wrapped around like a bike spoke. Like, he gets disemboweled around a bike spoke. I don't think you would care for that at all.
No.
Justine, it doesn't look like you would either.
No.
But if you like disembowelment in a creative way and 80s synth music, then Turbo Kid is for you. All right. Let's like a hard left. Let's make a hard left into The Princess Bride. Are you guys ready to revisit
Yeah.
Princess Bride? Let's do it.
The house is a mess, Jack. The kids are a mess, Jack. You're a mess, Jack.
You have been a total bitch ever since you came to New York.
You seem sort of distant.
Let's just do it, man.
You look stupid and rich. Stupid and rich.
Fascist.
All right, let's get into it.
By the way, I just want to say Christopher Guest. This
I
might
love
be his
Christopher
finest role.
Guest. Oh my gosh.
He's so fucking good in this movie. Oh my God. Like, he's like terrifying.
Yeah.
And funny at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
he is brilliant. I mean, in a movie where there's like some of the best actors of the 1980s are in this movie.
Yes.
He really stands out to me as just like a real standout character in this film. All right, Sarah, that's all the bullshit I had to get through before we talk about the Pit of Despair. I just had to get all that out of my system. What do you want to say about the Pit of Despair?
Well, I love the guy who is the one who does he clean him? He like
Mel
kind of-
Smith, the sort of like underling Igor type character.
Yes. I really like him a lot.
The albino, yeah, that's his
The
name.
albino. Yeah, I like him a lot. Like he just seems really sweet and gentle.
Yeah, he's a great character.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite underrated jokes. Like I laugh out loud every time when he's like, "Let pit of despair," and then he clears his throat and then he talks in a harsh British accent.
Yeah.
I love that joke so much.
Yeah, God, it's so brilliant. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love when he's saying like, I can cope with torture, and he's like shaking his head, but he looks delighted. Like that is a guy who likes his job.
Yeah.
Like he loves working in the torture pit. He loves it.
And then the actual machine that sucks the life out of him, out of Wesley, when I was a kid, I didn't think about it too hard. But when I saw it this time, I was like, what is it doing? Like before they said it sucked the life out of you, like when you're just seeing it the first time, and I'm just like, are those suction cups like suctioning his chest, like in his?
It's a bit
stomach?
of a BDSM thing going on.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, the life force. Okay, the suction cups make sense now, but still, like the first time
if you
see
think
it,
about the science of it too hard, like it's probably not meant to be under that type of a microscope. Because I'm like, okay, so there's water,
magic.
Windmill. Yeah, I think we just need to chalk it up to the magic of the movie.
Yeah, and I didn't understand. I mean, I know there are like several scenes,
but I did write down, how does the machine work? Like I would love to pontificate on exactly how does that machine work. What is happening there?
There are a few scenes in the Pit of Despair that, like, you know, it's not all one long scene, but like the scene where he actually the prince comes in and flips it up to 50.
Well, he gets pissed off because she basically calls him a coward.
Yes.
Or she does call him a coward. She says, you are afraid, and I have this thing with Wesley that you'll never have, and I'll never be yours. Which it's interesting that bothers him because he's going to murder her anyway. But I think the very idea that he couldn't possess something that he wants is what makes him angry.
Yeah, because Humperdinck is this well-known like hunter tracker guy who is obsessed with collecting all wild animals, which is not so much in the movie, but is more so in the book.
Yeah, they really didn't explain that very well. Yeah, you're right. So I'm sorry. Can you expand on that? So how do you think that relates to what he gets angry about when she says those things?
Something that he'll never possess.
Right. I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Actually, thank you, Justine. That clears up a lot for me because I was kind of hanging my hat on her calling him a coward. But yeah, I think you're right. It's the idea that he's a collector and he collects things. He's collecting her. He decided to go through and find the most beautiful woman in the township or whatever, and he's collected her, and he's going to kill her and hang her up on his wall just like any of his other creatures.
Ew.
I mean, metaphorically, not
well,
really.
That's in the book. The Pit of Despair is all these levels of dangerous animals he's captured.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about all that. Damn, Justine. Thank you for bringing that, because I forgot. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. So it's definitely that. It's that he can't ever have her. Like she will always, even if her body is in that castle, she's always going to belong to Wesley.
Mm-hmm.
That totally makes sense. I love that scene where he's just like so enraged and he goes down there and pushes the lever up and the count yells, not to 50.
Yeah.
And like they're all standing there, like the prince is looking very satisfied with the pain that he's caused, but everyone else in the room is kind of scared by what's going on.
Well, basically, like if it takes a year, like if one of those things is a year of your life, 50 years. So what's he, like 30, 25? How old is he supposed to be?
Fuck,
he looks
I
like
don't
a
know.
baby.
I want to say I would think in this time period that he probably left the farm when he was like 18 or 20. So I'm going to guess he's around 25.
25? Okay, so he would be 75.
well, people did not live to 75 in those medieval times.
So that's why he's dead.
Well,
Yeah.
also, like you saw what happened. I think that, again, the writing of this movie is very good. The way that they show you how bad it is just to do 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's not just the number of years, but the stress on his body all at once. But also,
Yeah.
he's not completely dead, Sarah. He's only mostly dead.
Mostly dead. Yeah.
So they didn't get him all the way dead.
Which
He's
can we
mostly
talk?
dead.
I don't know if it's time for this yet, but the scene with Billy Crystal and Carol Kane.
Miracle Max, aka Billy Crystal's like
Yes.
huge improv scene where he's just improvising a bunch
Yeah,
of shit.
and I didn't know that was Carol Kane until the end
Oh.
credits. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, I love Carol Kane. She's so
Yes.
amazing. Yes, let's talk about Miracle Max. So Wesley, so Buttercup and Wesley go through, they're reunited. They go through the fire swamp. They're confronted with the Count and Pumperdinck outside, and then he makes a deal with her, basically. Well, she exchanges Wesley's life, right? She says, I'll go with you if you. And then he ends up in the pit of despair where he's being tortured by the Count and his machine that sucks your life away. Interesting. Life is the most important thing. Sucking the time away that you might spend with your beloved. That is the worst thing that can be done to you. It's not to have your nipples tweaked or to be poked with pot pokers. It's for time that you would spend with your beloved to be taken away from you. That's the worst thing that can happen. So, and then of course the prince gets very angry and he kills Wesley using the machine. Shall we skip to the end of this movie? Man and wife. Say man and wife.
So appropriate.
My God. That's
I mean,
Mowedge.
yes.
Mowedge.
I mean, it's a classic. I want a t-shirt. There's got to be a t-shirt
There
out there.
totally are.
I'm
And
sure
love.
Love.
So the gang's all here. They get Wesley back to life, which is very funny, by the way, to
Yes.
me. All his flippy floppy
Is this before
limbs.
Weekend at Bernie's?
I believe it is. I think this is the original Weekend at Bernie's kind
Okay.
of situation.
So
Wesley,
his acting, his physical acting in this scene is hilarious.
Mhm.
I know he
He's
does
a
it.
funny
He does it very
guy.
well. He's very good at being sultry and also funny. He's got
What is
a
that?
good mix of sultry and funny. Let Weslly into your heart a little bit, Sarah. Just let him in. Let him in.
This scene amused
Open
me,
the-
especially his
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Where he's like rolling his head around. I know. I just love that. So they get back to the castle. Odds are impossible, but they use the myth, the branding of the Dread Pilot Roberts to get themselves in. I think there are two interesting things going on here. One, a theme that's been carried throughout the movie is that Dread Pirate Roberts is a brand. It's a brand. It's like Doctor Who. There's a different Dread Pilot Roberts. Just she liked that. She liked that comparison. And also, I think there's the idea of loyalty, which is something that comes up in the movie a lot. Buttercup's loyalty is questioned. Wesley's loyalty, in a sense, is questioned because basically she's like, "You didn't come back for me," and he's like, he said, "I always will come back for you." And she's like, "I'll never doubt again. There'll never be a need." So loyalty is a big theme here. All of those guys protecting the castle scatter because the person they're not loyal to that person. He doesn't inspire loyalty.
Right.
And so they run at the first cloak on fire that they see. So it's not too hard to get into the castle once they invoke the name of the Dread Pirate Roberts. And then once there, of course, Pumperdinck has rushed through the wedding. They didn't say their vows. I mean, in this time period, isn't consummation and signing some kind of document, isn't
Yes.
that what makes a marriage legal? So
Yeah.
without the consummation, it's not legal anyway, right?
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. So there's
Yeah,
that.
the whole consummation thing that like really creeps me out.
I love that Wesley's just laid out in the honeymoon bed.
Yeah.
just, like,
No, but
waiting
like
for
they
her.
actually had people watch to make sure that they consummated the marriage. How awkward is that?
I mean, believe me, I've been reading a lot of fanfics lately, so I am fully aware of that. A lot of arranged marriage fics, you guys.
Wow.
I can't help it. It's quarantine. Blame it on the quarantine thirst. We haven't talked about quarantine thirst at all this whole episode, which is shocking.
I blame
I
Justine. Just kidding.
Sorry.
How
Just kidding.
dare you, Sarah?
You did not. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine.
I can't believe you didn't fall for Wesley simply because of the quarantine thirst. How can you not with that hair?
Oof.
You know,
He's very cute. He's very cute.
his
yes.
eyes are so beautiful.
They're okay.
Like the sea after a storm.
Like the sea after
Yeah.
a storm. I'm melting. Okay. Let's talk about the end here. So I really want to talk about the speech that Wesley gives to Humperdinck. So also I really want to acknowledge the fact that there's no final sword fight between the prince and Wesley.
Mhm.
Like it's all smoke and mirrors. He still can't really move, but love gives him the strength to stand up and pretend like he can.
Yeah.
And I think that another thing that this movie likes to say about evil and badness and being bad is that it's ugly.
Mm.
And ultimately, what Wesley implies is that he will scar the prince enough that everyone will see how ugly on the outside, his ugliness on the outside will reflect his ugliness on the inside,
Mhm.
which I think is a pretty fucking badass speech.
Yeah. I did notice that the prince did not leap to his feet and attack Wesley when Wesley obviously was like about to fall and
Well, he is a
obviously didn't
coward.
have the strength.
Yeah.
But again, so the Buttercup has come back to just fucking kill herself, which
Mhm.
I wish we had a different thing going on than that, but okay. And Wesley gives that amazing speech. There's no final confrontation between them other than a battle of wits, which is very interesting to me. But what we do get, which I assume is why we didn't get this, because they didn't want to overshadow the battle between Indigo and the Count, which is where our real final sword fight comes. This scene is so satisfying. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it's like everything. It's the performance, and we haven't even touched on this, but I do feel like something about this movie that doesn't hold up and that you wouldn't see today is that, of course, they're casting a white actor in the role of a Spanish character.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is something that would fly today, nor should it. Not to say anything about Mandy Patinkin's performance. He's wonderful, but he's still a white actor being cast, with an accent, putting on an accent to be a Spanish character. But that all aside, the performances in the scene between the two of them are incredible. The way the chills I get when he starts fighting back with that sword and just starts saying that line, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya,
Yeah.
killed my father prepared." I mean, we all know the line, but it's like I get chills just talking about it. And it's the score too, the way the score punctuates every hit of that sword, and it's just a beautiful scene.
You know what would have made it even better for me, what I thought when I saw it, is if he had been stabbed on the other side and was like had to fight with his left hand and then somehow got
you
it
wanted the
switched to his
left-handedness
right.
to come back in.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Interesting. Oh, that is cool. It would have been cool if they had brought that back. That's true. I love also that they don't really make a big deal about this, like they don't talk about it, but I love that he also, every wound he gives back is the same wound that was given to him.
Yes.
Which is very poetic, I think. Indigo is definitely one of my favorite characters in this movie. Again, I love his sense of humor. I've always been a person who has been most attracted, not just physically attracted, but just I'm most interested in the character with the sense of humor.
Yes.
And I feel like Indigo is very funny. He's very I just love everything about him. And I remember when I saw this movie as a kid, like the the absolute devastation I felt when that the count like pulls the knife out and gets him in the gut. I was like Fred Savage in that moment. I was like, there's no way they were gonna kill the best fucking character in this movie. Like, you can't do that to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so to see him triumph there
Yeah.
is, I mean, it's satisfying. And right now, when there's so little to be satisfied with, it feels good to get a little, just get for the good guys to get a win. It feels good.
And that's something else that like he wouldn't have died, like the count wouldn't have died if he hadn't had the hubris to be like, oh well, you're obviously dead, like I don't need to concern myself with you, like I'm just gonna stand over you and be like, ha ha ha, I hurt you, you're gonna die. Like,
yeah,
you know, he didn't do the whole thing. So
yeah,
absolutely,
it's very love conquers all.
Yeah, I mean, it's the love of his father, and we didn't really talk about this too much, but there's a lot of moments of magic, like actual magic in the movie, where like Indigo, the love of his father, guides the sword to the tree where the pit of despair, like the hidden entrance. The Miracle Max, his miracle, I think we can assume is probably based on love. Love is the power that like, it seems like maybe he's kind of a bad miracle maker. Like he's not sure if that pill's gonna work.
Yeah.
And maybe he is more talented than he lets on, but I think we can perhaps assume that love makes that transformation more potent.
I mean, however,
than
like
it would have been.
The reason that he decided to help him was for revenge.
Well, love brought his wife out of the back, and once Valerie got involved, I think it was pretty much written in stone what was going to happen. Like Valerie wasn't going to let them leave that hut without something.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got excited about the job once he realized it was about sticking it to Humperdinck for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But Valerie had already kind of made the decision and said, "This is what's happening." So sorry, I hope you guys can't hear that child crying right outside my door. I think she's looking for a grown-up who's not in here. Okay, so Humperdinck is not murdered, which is interesting. They decide to leave him alive.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody rides off into the sunset.
Can we talk about
literally
Buttercup falling onto the horse? How they shot her like.
Well, she falls into Fezzik's arms. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. It's very dreamy. Yeah. Gosh, if she did fall onto the horse, I think there would have been some problems with her lady parts. It's probably not advisable to land on a horse from that distance.
Oh my gosh!
Without seeing your gynecologist afterwards. Okay. Final thoughts
on the end of the book.
Yes, let's definitely talk about the end of the book. But first of all, final thoughts on The Princess Bride. Any final thoughts?
I mean, it's great. I know it's problematic, but it's great.
Yes. I think that sums it up. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. It's very... sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Sarah.
It's very entertaining. It's very satisfying. I've seen it so many times that like there was nothing that surprised me or it was just like comforting, I guess. When I saw
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that nails it, right? The movie is, I think, by my standards today for narratives for women, is problematic, but there's a lot of other things to love. I do think that its representation of masculinity and goodness and what a good man is, I think is actually very in line with in line with the values that I like to see in a movie. Men are, they have principles and they care about the people around them and they lead with what's in their heart. And I think that's a beautiful message. So that part of it is great. What the women and whether or not they have any agency, that's the part where it's problematic. But this is a beautiful movie. I stand by it. I obviously showed it to my kids. And it makes me feel good when I watch it. And the writing is spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Justine, can you tell us a little bit about the ending of the book that I don't remember at all? Maybe I didn't make it to the end. Maybe I gave up. I don't know.
In the book, they all die.
They do.
Kind of. It's a cliffhanger because there's a supposed sequel, but it's like it leads to like it's like Fezzik's horse throws a shoe, Inigo's wound reopens, Wesley relapses, and Humperdinck is right on their trail, and that's how it ends.
Ugh, what a fucking bummer. That's the 2020 version of this movie.
Oh my god.
That's like if the 2020 reboot, you know, if we were, I don't care for that at all. I'm glad they, I'm glad Rob Reiner was like, let's not though. Rob Reiner stepped in and was like, no. That's
the
not how we're
5
ending this
best
movie.
kisses, and this surpasses the 5 best kisses, and then the end for Fred Savage.
What do you
is
think
like,
What do you think the other 5 were?
in 1987, maybe like
kidding.
Adam and Eve. I don't know.
Adam and Eve's kiss, you know, certainly after they got kicked out of the garden.
Cleopatra and what's his face? Alexander the Great. I don't know.
Were they a couple? I don't know my history.
Antony. I'm sorry. Antony.
King Arthur and were Guinevere and King Arthur together? Yeah, I guess so. It'd have to be them. Probably like Bogey and Lauren Bacall, right? We'll throw them in there. And then
Sam and Diane and Cheers. I'm just kidding.
Sam and Diane and Cheers. Yeah, that's the 5. That's the 5 right there. That's the 5. You got it. You nailed it.
All hetero kisses.
Oh no.
You're right. Bad. No, I'm wagging my finger at us for you were absolutely right. Okay. So before we get to the Bechdel test, my husband and my brother-in-law did a fun exercise together where we were like, if they rebooted this movie today, like who would the cast be? So does anyone want to play that game with me real quick? Because I have a whole list of people.
And
no pressure because I'm just throwing this out there. But who would be a good Wesley if we were to reboot this today?
Adam Driver. No, I'm kidding.
Don't think I didn't put Adam Driver in this cast. I did, but not as Wesley.
Inigo. He would be. No,
I'm gonna go with an actor who's
Spanish
not
actor.
white.
Yeah, that's true. That's
for
true.
that role. If you want to go ahead and jump to it, we settled on Pedro Pascal in Inigo Montoya. We thought he'd make. I also thought Diego Luna would make.
Yes,
and I think he played him in. They did a Everybody did. Anybody watch that remake of where everybody did like famous actors did just little bits of the movie?
I saw the clip with Paul Rudd in the speech.
Yeah, Paul Rudd is Wesley. Yeah, that was a good one.
Paul Rudd. Yeah.
But what about Wesley? Who would play Wesley?
Chris Pine.
I thought of that. I thought Chris Pine would make a great Wesley. I also had Chris Hemsworth. Because I think he's hot and funny. Like I think he's a good action star and he's very funny.
He is.
And also here's kind of a wild horse, but I think Bill Hader might make a good Wesley.
Whoa.
Interesting.
Because I think he's demonstrated through Barry that he is in fact hot.
He's hot, yeah.
What about we've already talked about Indigo. What about Fezzik, the giant?
I mean, we need to cast a giant.
The Rock.
Or so a wrestler. The Rock. I said The Rock. I thought The Rock would be a good choice. John Cena, maybe. Or ultimately we settled on Dave Bautista.
There you go.
Okay.
We thought he would make a good Fezzik.
Yeah.
Vincini, I feel like there's only one person who could do this and who could step into Wallace Shawn's shoes. Who do you think?
Oh my god. What's his name? What's his fucking name?
What was he in?
He's in Big Mouth.
Oh. Oh my, are you talking
he's
about
he's also
Jason Mantzoukas?
Yes.
Oh God, I hadn't even thought of that, but yes, he would be great as Vincini. I would love to see Jason Mantzoukas as Vincini. We said Peter Dinklage would make a good Vincini.
Yes, he would be a good Vincini too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a good one. Buttercup.
Ooh. Robin Wright. No, I'm just kidding. I love Robin Wright.
It'll be great.
Do we have to cast someone as white? We
No,
don't have to
my
cast
first
I
thought
anybody.
was
I
Zoe
didn't.
Saldana.
That's who I wrote. That's literally who I wrote down, Justine, is Zoe Saldana. I thought she would make a great Buttercup because I'd like our reboot of Buttercup to be a little bit more have a little more agency. And I think
Yeah.
Zoe Saldana would be great.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah, can you guess who I cast as Prince Humperdinck?
No, Adam Driver.
I did because I was like, you know what? I want my Prince Humperdinck to have a little bit more dimension.
Nice.
Because I think Adam Driver could come in there and play that bad character, but give him a little bit more depth. Give him a little bit more sides to him other than just evil.
Can Christopher Guest still play the Count?
I literally wrote down Christopher Guest as the Count. I'm not recasting that role. I'm not recasting it. There's no point.
Oh my gosh. I
We'll
love
just
that
have
we thought
Christopher
the same
Guest.
thing.
I also thought Kieran Culkin would make a good Prince Humperdinck. Kieran Culkin from
Oh,
Succession.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I love Kieran Culkin. He's hot.
What about the albino? I have two down
Albino.
here. The albino.
Are there any
from-
albino actors?
I didn't write any down, but
I don't know.
I thought Jack Black or Zach Galifianakis would make a good albino.
Ooh, yeah.
Both of
yeah.
them. I don't know why I find them interchangeable. They're not interchangeable. I think either one of them. Okay, this was really fun. Miracle Max and Valerie.
Oh gosh. Don't make me recast.
I know.
It's hard.
I love them. They're still alive. They can still play those parts. They had a lot of age.
Yeah, they
True,
were-
they'd
they were
actually they'd
prosthetics.
literally be old now.
Yeah.
But I was also thinking I'd love to see Hannibal Buress as Miracle Max
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
and
Yes.
Kristen Shaw or Jenny Slate as Valerie.
Jenny
Jenny Slate.
Yes.
Yeah. But they'd wear the old age makeup, so they'd still look absurd. Like Hannibal Buress would be like wearing old age makeup, obviously. Anyway,
like
that's
it.
my dream. That's my dream cast for the reboot. Hollywood, come call me. I'm ready.
Well, they were talking
your
about a reboot, and everybody on the internet said no.
Well, I don't actually want a reboot of The Princess Bride. Like, we don't have to remake everything.
Maybe in 10 years.
Well,
kidding.
I don't know that you can. I don't think you can improve. Aside
They
from the
could
fact that I
rewrite
would
it.
like Buttercup to have a little bit more of a story and an arc. Other than
Mhm.
that, I don't really think you can.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much you can improve upon.
I don't
here. It's-
really want them to add another hour to this movie.
Yeah.
No, let's not make it a miniseries. You know, although Adam Driver is Prince Humperdinck, I'm into it. I am into it. All right, real quick. I don't think this is going to take us long. Spoilers. I don't think this is going to take us long, but let's do the Bechdel test.
Okay.
Spoilers. Does
Does
okay.
this movie have more than one female character in it?
Yes.
Yes.
Do they have names?
Yes.
Yes.
They do. Do any women in this movie talk to each other?
They're not even in the same room. Actually, no. The
There's
witch.
the one. Yeah.
The witch,
old hag
who
in the
the old
nightmare.
hag who yells at her in the nightmare
She doesn't
But
have a
does she-
name.
about doesn't have a name.
Does the
and
old
she-
hag talk to her about something other than a man?
Nope.
No.
Nope. They have the only conversation they have is about how she didn't
It's filthy.
stay with Wesley.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow, we didn't even get into that woman and why she has to look that way. That's a whole bag of worms.
I like her aesthetic though. I was watching. I was like, "That's me. That's me in quarantine with the frizzy hair and the pile of blankets.
And, like,
Blanket chic. Me.
Blanket chic. I love it. Oh my god. Yeah. So I would say that this movie does not pass the Bechdel test.
No, it
Nope.
fails with flying
Yeah.
colors.
It really does. It fails spectacularly at the Bechdel test. Welcome to Plug It Up. This is the part of the show where we talk about all the amazing things that our guests are up to and a couple things maybe that we're doing that you might be interested in. Let's kick it over to Justine. Justine, tell us about some cool stuff that you're working on.
Yeah, something I forgot to mention last time was that a film I had edited last year is now on Netflix. So
Ooh, that's amazing! Yay!
Hey, what's it
So
called?
awesome.
it's called Good Kisser.
Good
Mm.
Kisser.
I'm gonna have
Okay.
to
Yeah.
check this out.
Yeah, it's a lesbian romance.
I love it.
You know.
Nice.
So Good Kisser on Netflix. Go check that out. And what else you working on?
Yeah, I've got this podcast called Pod Appetit where we're watching all these food shows. It's brand new in our rebranding. We used to be covering just Bon Appetit, but we're not doing that anymore.
And
So,
you know what? That makes sense.
Yeah, Pod Appetit, gourmet takes, find everywhere. And our social media handles are usually at pod_appetit.
Love it. And you know I love those food shows. So this is like perfect for me. Because now I can find out like what should I be watching
Totally.
to feed my food show obsession. That's great. Anything else? Anything else that you would like to plug, or any places you'd like people to follow you at?
Oh yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mixtape Montage.
Which I love. That is a great name. It's a
Thank
perfect, perfect name. Sarah, do you have anything you would like to plug?
Just my blog at www.sarahalisonhodges.com. I put up something new each month. Personal stories, because I've been working on a personal essay book, but I'm also working on a sci-fi thing right now. So
do you think you might ever put some excerpts of stuff you're working on, like up on the blog, maybe?
Maybe.
Ooh,
Maybe.
little tasty, little appetizer.
Sure.
I'm just
Possibly. I don't know.
Well, you won't know unless you go read Sarah's
You
blog.
have to
So
check
go
in every day.
Check in. Can they subscribe to it at this point, or like it is? No, you just visit it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we can do that. We're always visiting sites in quarantine. What else are we gonna do?
Yeah.
So go check out Sarah's blog, and can you say the web address for us one more time?
www.sarah with an H, Allison with one L, Hodges, HODGES.com.
Love it. All right, couple things I'd like to plug. Critical Crop Top, which is the production company that produces this podcast. We also produce some other things like live comedy shows, and we are uploading a sketch every week from the archives of our live shows. So you can check out some of the best of our live show sketches. They're going up on Critical Crop Top's YouTube channel every week. So Critical Crop Top on YouTube. You can also find the vidcast of this podcast. So if you're listening to us in your ears and you want to see Justine dancing like she is right now, you can go and you want to see Sarah's beautiful outfit. Sarah's really bringing on the fashion to entice you to watch this vidcast. You can find us on the Critical Crop Top YouTube channel. And you can follow Critical Crop Top at Critical Crop Top on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to find out what other crazy shit we're doing. Like, for example, the Adam and Andy podcast.
I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, dud all you want. I'm going to wait. Thank you. The Adam and Andy podcast, a podcast where Sarah and I, for some reason, have decided that we're going to watch all of Adam Sandler and not Adam Sandler.
No.
God, that would be miserable.
No.
Look, I don't hate Adam Sandler, but I have no desire to watch his entire filmography.
50 First Dates? Just kidding.
I do like 50 First Dates, and I love The Wedding Singer.
Wet Wedding Singer? Yes, I love The Wedding Singer.
But there's a lot of other stuff in there that I don't need to see.
Yeah.
Adam Driver and Andy Samberg. We're watching their entire filmographies and their TV stuff and their SNL appearances. We're going to do it all.
Their YouTube stuff pre SNL. I mean, just
we're digging it all
one
out.
Of them. Yeah,
we're digging it all out. Actually, a lot of short films that Adam Driver was in before he was famous, somebody has uploaded them all to YouTube.
Wow.
So let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll just have like an Adam Driver short film showcase. Anyway, if you want to indulge us in our obsessive behavior, please listen to the Adam and Andy podcast. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Stitcher, and you can follow us on the social medias at Adam and Andy Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and at Adam Andy Pod on Twitter. That's a lot of stuff.
Should we have named it the Adam and Andy Thirst Podcast? No, I'm just kidding. That's too long.
I mean,
And
that
too
is its
weird.
that's its secret handshake name.
Yeah.
Is the Adam and Andy Thirst podcast, where we'll be thirsting after those actors. The quarantine thirst never stops on this show. And of course, you can follow this podcast, the one that you're listening to right now, the Feminine Mistake Podcast, at Feminine Mistake Pod on Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter at Femistake Pod. Yeah, those are the places. Those are the places where you can find us. And I hope you'll let us know what you think of The Princess Bride. Have you read the book? How do you think it compares? Like Justine and I, are you much happier with the film's ending than with the book ending? I do remember that ending now, Justine. I remember reading it and being like, fuck you. I mean, I was only 13, but I was like, fuck you. How dare you? I do remember the outrage I felt now reading the ending of that. So tell us what you think. Or if you've got any suggestions for films that you would like us to cover on this show, you can of course slide into our DMs. Is that a thing people still do?
Yeah, but usually they want to have sex with the person they're
Just
sliding
slide on
into.
in those DMs.
Slide on in those DMs and talk to us about movies in a totally appropriate fashion. Please don't send me dick pics.
Oh my God.
I don't want them.
No.
All right. We've come to the end of our discussion about Princess Bride.
And on a dick pic note.
Let's just go out on an erect note. Justine, thank you for being on the show and putting up with our shit.
Thank you
you
for
so
having
much.
me.
We have had so much fun having you on. I hope you'll come back sometime.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you on to talk about another
And now
film.
we can
You're a delight.
because Justine is far away from us, and
But
through
the
the magic
internet-
of Zoom and Zencaster.
The internet connects us.
Yes. This is the thing we're doing.